taught you how to land this thing, right?
I'm trying to concentrate. Will you be quiet?
We may have gone the Federation spiel during last week's episode, but what about the foundation of Star Trek, exploring strange new worlds? Well, this episode of Star Trek Prodigy has got us covered. Welcome to Trek Central, I'm your host Captain Jack, and let's get right into it. Before we do begin, yes, you're not seeing me on camera this week for our typical Star Trek reviews, however that's because we're currently prepping for Destination Star Trek. If you're in the UK and heading down this week, do say hello to us if you see myself and some of the team members walking around in some fancy Trek Central hoodies. Troy put an image on screen right now. We hope to see some of you there at the event, but if you're not coming down, stay safe and we'll hopefully catch up with you next year at Destination Star Trek Chicago, or Star Trek Mission Chicago, whichever one it's called. Either way, live long and prosper, have a good weekend. Anyway, let's go. So, episode 4 of Star Trek Prodigy is titled Dreamcatcher. It's written by Lisa Schultz-Boyd and directed by Steve R. Sun-Shin. The director of this episode, Steve Arn, is a reasonably well-known storyboard artist for animated shows like The Legend of Korra, so seeing able to direct an episode of Prodigy is fantastic. The crew has their first away mission on an undiscovered planet that manifests their deepest desires, only to realize the planet has desires of its own. Of course, if you want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media for daily updates on the Star Trek universe. As with all our reviews, spoilers are ahead, so beam off this video right now if you don't want to be spoiled. Okay, so this episode really is Star Trek through and through. Not only do we get a classic captain's log to start the episode, but a chance to explore a strange new world, and interact with an interesting kind of organism that lives on the planet, and uses spores in order to manipulate people to stay on the planet in order to feast on them. Yikes. The captain's log from Dahl is smart writing, with Dahl not knowing what star it is or why he's even doing a captain's log, so it is very much in the style of the show, giving us that Trek goodness but from a fresh new perspective, which is really welcoming and very nice. This captain's log is used to great effect in this episode, not only to introduce the episode, but also add some training to the crew on operations of the ship, in which we get a training montage of Janeway teaching them all. So, the main bulk of this episode is all about exploring an unknown M-class planet in the Herosian system. And yes, you heard that correctly, we are in the Herosian system. Do not be alarmed, as we know from Voyager, the Herosian were extreme hunters of any prey they could find, and were a nomadic species in order to find their next hunt. With hints like this, and hints from the first episode such as the astronomical entity, the Window of Dreams, which was mentioned in Star Trek Voyager, as well as Gwyn saying, this side of a delta, I believe that the ship is on the border between the Delta Quadrant and the Alpha Quadrant. If this is so, it's basically between the Herosian Communications Network, which extends from the middle of the Delta Quadrant to the middle of the Beta Quadrant. So this location actually makes sense for the Herosian system. The planet itself is also a very powerful predator, luring its prey with its desires in order to eat them. Originally, I could envision that this planet may have been used for Herosian as a testing ground, to test their hunters against this one, and if a Herosian hunter survives and does not give in to temptation, they earn the right to be Herosian. Though, with the protostar being able to nonchalantly walk into the system, the Herosian are long gone by this time, with the nomadic ways keeping them away from the planet. Perhaps this was their ancient homeworld, none of us even know. I feel like the desires that the picture planet wove to get our crew to stay on a planet could have been different, as a lot of them, it didn't add much to what we already know about our characters. We know that Rok-Tahk likes animals. This episode only reinforces that, instead of adding more to the desire of Rok-Tahk as a character. Jacom's woven desire was good, only if it being tangibly related to his backstory, which is that Jacom seems to have come from a Tellar sleeper ship, which could have been set off from Tellar any number of years ago, maybe even before the founding of the Federation, which is why Jacom has no idea about the Federation itself. An interesting theory, let us know what you think. This does help us explain why one of our crew is an Alpha Beta Quadrant species, but we still have a brilliant Rok-Tahk and a Medusan Zero to explain why they're in the Delta Quadrant. Now, we've got some new tricorders and phasers. I really like the design of the tricorders, having a pop-up screen and more interaction than standard tricorders we've seen, looking more like pads mixed with tricorders. The phaser is also of an interesting design, looking like an upgraded the next generation model phaser, and harkening back to the Gene Roddenberry idea that the weapons of Starfleet shouldn't look like guns, to help get across that Starfleet is not a military force, but an exploration organization. These tricorders and phasers look very different from those we've seen of this time, however in Lower Decks and Picard's flashback scenes in 2385, so perhaps these are prototype equipments to go along with the protostar's prototype status. That was a mouthful. It's possible this equipment is made specifically for the Delta Quadrant, further building into my theory that the protostar is a part of something like Project Full Circle's fleet expedition. A man can dream, okay? Stop telling me off for writing with no script, Dom, honestly. The introduction of a runaway, the buggy-like vehicle which is used in this episode, is glorious. Obviously, we've got introduced to the vehicle replicator last episode. It's put to effect in creating this buggy. Can I just say, rovers in Star Trek do make a lot of sense, okay? I mean, we did have the Argo in Star Trek Nemesis, and Picard loved that. Let's talk about Gwyn. Recently, the Starship.com database was updated for Prodigy, so we got some more information about this progeny of Solum, which can be seen in this episode. Valkanaut and by extension Gwyn have this ability called Neuroflux, where their skin glows and they're able to control certain objects telekinetically. That was a mouthful. Gwyn shows her aptitude this episode, not only being able to escape the brig, but take charge of the ship and even to alter Janeway to accept her commands. We get told this is what the Divine has been training her for, which gives us more to theorize on when it comes to the Divine's actual plan. Kate Mulgrew gets the chance this episode to not only play Janeway, which she obviously finds well, but get to play the voice of the planet as its evil trappings. Kate Mulgrew is a notable voice actor, having done numerous roles over time. The best, strangely enough, are the villains, such as Royal Flemeth in the Dragon Age game series. So getting Kate Mulgrew to voice off this evil planet is actually great, and having it as a version of Janeway the kids see makes it really cool, but also scary, as Janeway should not be making such evil faces, and it's kinda creepy. The episode is ending with a cliffhanger of the crew of the Protostar being stranded on this planet, but it's trying to eat them in a fascinating way. It is an interesting way to end the episode, and really makes me excited for the next episode of Prodigy, especially for Diviner knowing their location now. Seeing a Protostar being ripped out of the air is actually pretty powerful, but we all know that the crew is going to find the ship again, and they're working together, get off the planet and escape from a Diviner who is on his way. Okay, general review wise, the planetary shots in this episode are beautiful, very much reminding me of the matte paintings of Legacy Treks in many shots. The art department really put in the all when creating these strange new worlds for Prodigy. This is a strange new world, which is arcing stone structures to this interesting species which may very much fill the tapestry of Trek themes that have come before. The episode was very funny as well. I actually laughed at the scene where Jugcom accidentally shoots himself with a phaser because he didn't know which end it was. You have to imagine that someone in the history of Starfleet has likely done that at some point in time. I mean, come on, some phasers do look a little weird here and there. Compared to previous episodes, this one didn't get too much into the emotion, with the only thing being Dahl seeing his parents, but having fear given about this, given it was evidently a fake illusion meant to trick him and make him and the Protostar crew stay on the planet. I will say though, on the topic of emotion, Gwyn's reaction to seeing the Diviner, aka her father, in the flesh and blood, aka the illusion, and seeing that his tank did provoke a small emotional feeling for her, the character, but whether us as viewers can connect with it, I don't really think so. Either way, still pretty cool to see that. Okay, before we do end off this review for today, we do have to talk about the latest news for Star Trek Prodigy, with the show having been officially renewed for its second season, which is great news as it's really shaping up to be a great show. However, this also coupled with the fact that Season 1 has been extended, with Season 1 now consisting of 20 episodes in total. I know a lot of people are asking for a 20 episode series back for Trek, but I don't think they expected Prodigy to be the one to do it. However, this is not the only news, with the release schedule of Prodigy also being messed with slightly. We're going to get a mid-season break after the next episode, episode 5, which I'm glad isn't this episode to be fair. Prodigy will return with episodes 6 to 10 starting on January 6th. Then episodes 11 to 20 will be coming later next year in 2022. So narratively, this could be 3 acts of the season, as the crew abandoned as well as with Gwyn. They must band together to survive and escape. This may start to form Gwyn's doubts about her father and make her part of our team as communications officer. However, it might just be other constraints, such as episodes 11 to 20 were in original season 2, but they decided to combine it together. Who knows, but it means that more Prodigy and I'm happy about that. So, we got some great news about that. However, still no news about international distribution for the show, but be assured we'll let you know as soon as we get any news on that front. Speaking of which, by the way, if you are heading to Destination Star Trek this weekend in London here in the United Kingdom, they are offering a Star Trek Prodigy screener here in the UK. So if you've not watched it yet, or have not found a way to watch it, wink wink nudge nudge, you'll be able to watch it at the event. Regarding that, I'm not sure of any place you can watch it in the UK other than DST this weekend. We'll keep you updated via our social media and of course event coverage as well. Star Trek Prodigy is continuing to be a great show and we look forward to everything it has in store for us. Don't forget you can watch brand new episodes of Prodigy each week here on Thursdays via Paramount Plus in the USA and of course via Crave and CTV Sci-Fi in Canada. That's a wrap on our Star Trek Prodigy review for today. Be sure to check out our other videos here on the channel. And of course let us know what you think in the video comment section below. Because like always, if you're talking about Star Trek, then we want to hear about it. If you do want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media or join our community Discord server. For now, I've been Captain Jack, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time. Live long and prosper my friends, goodbye.